Okay, we are going back to the basics today with Meal Planning 101, and Abby with Profile is back with some helpful advice. Welcome back.
Thank you. I appreciate having 2 weeks in a row with you. That's
yes.
exciting.
Well, and I think this is a great topic. So we're going to talk about it again in a little bit more specific to, the plate.
Yep.
I like to talk about the plate. We think, we know how to put together a meal, but a lot of us skip the veggies or have too many carbs on that plate.
Yeah, so last week when I was here, we talked about the vegetables and really trying to take the time out of your schedule to look at the vegetables that you do like and maybe start playing with them in different ways so that they can mix with different meals. And then also maybe if you don't like those vegetables, take some time to decide what it is that you're willing to try and then cook them in different ways and spend some time actually getting to know the vegetables, because maybe you just haven't tried them yet, or maybe you haven't tried them on the grill or in the air fryer, and maybe look at those recipes. So taking the time out of your day, we always say, okay, I want to get better at this, I want to do better, I want a meal plan, I want to do all this stuff, but you have to take the time to do it.
Right, and you know what, it does make a difference in the night of. If you take the time maybe on Sunday, then on Tuesday you're not saying, I don't know, what do you want to eat? Well, what do you want to eat? That's not just in my house, is it?
I know. I think when you did when you were on Profile, you were doing that. I love that I don't have to think about what I have to eat.
So the worst part. It's worse than cooking, deciding what to make.
Yep. So talking through what it looks like for your family to have meals, and honestly, with that plate, and with Profile, and with a health journey, we always just say, hey, start with what you know. Don't try to just say, okay, I'm going to completely change my meal plan. I'm going to eat only these new vegetables and only this new type of carbohydrate. Try to start with what you know. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today with the whole grain portion of that plate. Maybe the only thing you really do like right now is just plain spaghetti noodles. So that's okay. Start there. Start with what you know and what you like, but then look at that serving size that you're actually taking in and that it fits on that plate. It looks like it's about a half of that half. So we're at a fourth of a space on your plate for the carbohydrates. But again, don't start with like that really hard wild rice. If you don't like it, start with spaghetti noodles that you do like.
Okay, I was actually, as you were talking, thinking, my spaghetti plate doesn't always look like a half of a half. Can we start with a half maybe and then go to the half of the half?
You can. Honestly, when you're starting a new health journey, it's really important to start with what you're comfortable with and just slowly move yourself back into that regulation state. It's hard to just put the brakes on everything you're doing and start with all vegetables and 1 little ounce of protein, right? Like we really just have to help ourselves move into that space where we feel more comfortable with what we're taking in.
Because you don't want to feel restricted, because then you feel like you're on a diet and you're hungry.
Yeah, and a lot of what we do at Profile is we don't talk about the word diet ever. We really talk about a lifestyle change and getting to know your body and what it actually needs. And so maybe you're just used to really filling up your plate with carbs or potatoes or noodles or whatever, because that's just how you were raised.
Yep.
But then you can't figure out why you can't get under control, or maybe you're always investing your carbohydrate part of your plate into those really fast burning carbs like the white rice or the white noodles. If you start choosing, or even like white bread, like a garlic bread or something like that, if you're starting to choose things that are more whole grain and are going to have more fiber in them and start taking more time, it's going to take your body more time to digest, you'll notice that you actually feel fuller longer. So maybe you just start as you get more comfortable with reducing the amount of carbohydrates that you're taking in based on what your body needs, then you start moving it over into those carbohydrates that actually take longer for your body to digest, and then you'll just notice I'm not running through them quite so quickly in my body, and I get to wait a little bit longer before I start feeling hungry again.
It's really incredible when you notice staying full longer.
Yes, yeah. And that's what, a lot of our foods these days are highly processed and they're just running through your system. And so when you start paying attention to how you feel after you eat, and within how many hours you're starting to get hungry again, then you know what parts of your plate maybe you need to work on fixing a little bit more.
So how can Profile help us do this? I mean, that plate was, you brought that, you showed, gave it to us from Profile.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, I maybe need a little more help than just looking at that.
Yeah, and honestly, again, we can Pinterest and YouTube and take a picture of something over and over again, but until we're really practicing it for ourselves, what I need and what you need on your plate are very different things. And so what a coach is going to do is come alongside you, sit down with you and say, what's working for you now? What isn't working for you now? And how can we start moving into a direction that you feel better about how you prepare that plate, how you prepare your meals, how you prepare for your week. Another thing that's really helpful that we have at Profile is something called Precise. And I didn't even send you anything on this, but I was just thinking on the way here, I'm like, you know what, this is a really good time for us to talk about Profile Precise because it has to do with carbohydrates. What this does, it's a genetic test, it's just a saliva swab. It helps to tell us how your body uses and metabolizes carbohydrates. So it's a very simple mouth swab, and then we get a score back, and that score is going to tell us how your body uses and metabolizes carbohydrates, and based on that then we can kind of start moving that meal plan around to make sure that you're getting what your body needs to burn fat.
So not one size fits all.
No.
You have the coaching, you have the help. Abby, thank you so much for coming in today. Give Profile a call, see where you can start, and get that plate balanced.
Yes, and get it balanced for you.
Stay with us. Coming up next, new homeowners, listen up. We have 5 essential tips for you for when you move into that new house.